Welcome to Pain with a Purpose, the podcast where we dive deep into the stories of resilience, redemption, and purpose. I'm your host, Chris Woods, and each week we will sit down with guests who have faced challenges with substance abuse, mental health, and recovery. But we're not just dwelling on the past. Instead, we'll explore what keeps them driven towards a purposeful life. Join us as we navigate the journey from pain to a purpose. So with that, welcome back to Pain with a Purpose, season 1, episode 8. Episode 9 with Andrew McDowell. Appreciate making the trip, dude.
Thank you for having me. Right around the corner.
Not necessarily, but close enough, right? So, I mean, have you watched any of the shows or have you watched any of the episodes?
Yeah, I watched a lot of the clips and I've seen some of the episodes.
So, you know, like what the podcast is about, essentially.
Yeah.
You know, we're just trying to kind of bring light to, you know, not only did we go through a lot of pain, right, as a direct result of like substance abuse or things of that nature, mental health, whatever the case may be, but more importantly, we've kind of turned it into like a sense of a purpose, right? So with that, dude, we'll jump right into it. Talk to me about like where you're from, what that was like. I mean, I obviously know your story, right? But we can't just kind of jump into it and like jump to the current stuff. So like, walk us through that.
So, I mean, honestly, we were neighbors growing up, which is kind of crazy. We grew up in like, a lot of people know it as Roxborough, but this little neighborhood, Wissahickon, it's, in between Manayunk and Roxborough. Grew up, my mom had me young, 17, she was still in high school. There's pictures of me at our graduation and stuff. I grew up with my maternal grandparents and her and my 3 aunts. And yeah, I mean, life was kind of just, it's what I knew it to be. I mean, I thought that was like normal. But then when I started going to like grade school and stuff like that, as I was like, 5th, 6th grade, I would see like a lot of like families, it was like the double family home, mom and dad, traditional and stuff like that. And I came to realize like, damn, like I guess the situation's a little bit different, but I loved it. I mean,
did you know that when we were like neighbors, like, and I don't know if you ever looked at like my family like that, but like that wasn't like my mom had gotten remarried, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
we'll rewind. I'll put it this way. I lived in the Valley in Roxborough until I was 9. And my mother bought her first house when I was like 9 or 10, and she got married and all that stuff. And that's when she bought the house in Wissahickon, like Ridge and Ryder. But up until that point, I was living in the Valley at my grandmom's house. And that neighborhood is a little bit different. It's kind of more the traditional, you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Nothing wrong with where we grew up, but it was a little bit more normal. A lot of my friends down there, they kind of have like similar upbringings as us,
Yeah. So where did you go to? I can't even like think about it at this time. Did you go to IHM? Did you go to OC?
I went to IHM for all
from Wissahickon. So you made the long trip.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Me and there was like a couple of us, especially when like St. John's closed and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I went there from kindergarten all the way up to 8th. Yeah.
Okay. I think that's the only one that's left at this point.
That, and I don't even know if Holy Family's open, honestly.
Well, Holy Family, isn't Holy Family? Holy Child.
Holy Child, yeah.
It's weird, like, as we, like, move through the episode, right? Like, we'll see, like, how life has come, like, completely full circle, right? But, yeah, so, we were neighbors. We were young enough where we really weren't doing anything too nuts just yet.
Right.
What about when you got to high school?
So I'd say I remember when I was 12 or 13, 7th grade, whatever that is, 12 or 13, it would be like, remember the grade school dances?
Yeah.
I would sleep over at a friend's house and we would go, and at 12 we would raid his parents' liquor cabinet and get, drunk or whatever. And started out pretty innocently. I remember 8th grade summer was like the first time that like, I was going to like keg parties in the woods and smoking weed at the playground and doing whatever. And then freshman year, 14, it was like a every single weekend thing. Like I was always like a straight B student for like doing nothing. I was a huge like...
You were one of them. Okay.
Always got an 85 for just like showing up.
You were just like good at school.
I was good at school.
Good
I
at
was
like
smart.
retaining information.
Yeah, somewhat. Yeah, somewhat. Book smart, you would say. You know what I mean? But like nothing too crazy. 14, 15, a lot of weed, drinking, whatever. But what happened was you know, like my grandpa had prostate cancer, and they had gave him options and stuff like this. And I remember he took the option of like cutting it out, like, his prostate or whatever. And they prescribed him what came, to be known as, like oxycodone 5 milligrams. And from just hearing about it at school and stuff like that, and you're gonna clip and cut. Should I bring up, like, you're gonna clip this out, but like, can I bring up how you can I bring up how you told me about it and stuff like that?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So kind of just from going to school downtown at Roman, you get it like a mix of like kids and stuff like that. So you get exposed to like every different lifestyle and every walk of life, and I would hear about them. And I just remember like one day, I would always stay at my grandmom's or whatever because my mom worked nights as a nurse at UPenn, and I remember seeing them in the cabinet when I went to go brush my teeth before school one day, and I'd always hear about them. And I remember looking at it, and it says like oxycodone display for Percocet, like these big white pills. I took 2 of them. I snagged 2 out of the bottle. I went to the SEPTA bus. I caught the 27, and on the 27, I chewed them up, and I got violently ill. I got off at Race and Vine, right where Hahnemann used to be. I threw up everywhere, but I felt like, pretty good. Like, I couldn't even believe it. And then I went on about it like nothing happened, and like it wasn't like it had me right there. Like,
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I kind of went on about my day. It's funny though to bring up this, like, I remember like you were like my old head in school and stuff. You're probably 3 years older than me or something like that, but 2 grades because you got held back.
I got held back a couple times, so I might have been older than 3 years. Yeah.
I think I let you know about what I found, and come to find out you were kind of doing the same thing around the same group of people and stuff like that. And one thing led to another. And I just remember like one of the first times where I ever did like a blue, like a 30, it's probably like 16, 17, whatever. And I was with you, and, I did like a line or whatever. And, from there, like, that's when I was like, damn, this is the craziest thing. Cause for me, it was like, any like ache, pain, worry, anxiety, like anything like that, like it immediately, it was gone. Yep. And like, they don't tell you, they forget to tell you the part where like, there's like consequences, like the physical withdrawal.
Yeah.
And like everything that comes with that, the lying, the stealing, the manipulating.
Well, I think like I mean, it's not like they forgot to tell us, what I mean? It's just like, we didn't know what was coming, like, I mean, my story, but like you got started a little bit later on, and absolutely were able to like hold on to like a good reputation for a good amount of time. Like I wasn't, right? And like I was kind of like, fully addicted in high school. So it was like, I was doing all this stuff and I had no clue that that's what like I was really battling, right? Like I had no clue that I was like withdrawing. I had no clue that I knew that I was doing some, whatever I had to do to get one more, but like I didn't know that. I thought I just like had to stop putting it in my body, right? And it was like, it's just not that simple. It was just never going to be that easy. But yeah, I mean, it's like they knew, you know what I mean? Like that, all that stuff that came with it, right? Because we would pass a lot of those people when we get off the 27.
Right.
We just didn't know that that's like where we were headed slowly but surely.
Right, 100%. I mean, like I always say it all the time, like now is like, dude, I was like came from a good family, you know what I mean? A good working, honest family, Catholic school for, 13 years. And then I was same thing, like down at A in Indiana, using heroin intravenously, smoking crack cocaine, like like, and like in the midst of it though, I would snap out of it a little bit. I'd be like, yo, this is crazy. Like, how did I even get here? I remember watching Basketball Diaries as a kid and just like, this is crazy. And then like being on that side.
So I don't know if you like caught like previous episodes where I was like, and I don't know if you ever went through this, but like I used to argue with people a lot on Facebook about like this being a disease or not. Or like people saying like if Andrew wanted to change his life, he would, I don't know. Right. But yeah, I had multiple thoughts like that where I was like, is this this is really what my life is? And I'm sure you can relate to the sense of like everything in my life was kind of mapped out, right? I was going to play sports for these 2 teams, right? I was going to go to this school. I was going to go to this high school. My mom worked multiple jobs to make sure that like I did certain things in my life, in my childhood. I didn't wake up and be like, I'm just going to fuck all this up. You know, it just happened one day where I realized, like, once you're in the thick of it, what are you going to, like, you can't just snap my fingers and get out of it.
No, 100%. I mean, like, it was crazy for me. Like, I don't know. A lot of it was like a series of events. Like, looking back on it now, I've addressed a lot of things. I had a great family, but like nothing was ever enough. It was a little bit different, and I didn't have healthy coping skills. Like, my mom having me at 17, by the way, she's a straight champion rock star. Like, literally has been a nurse now for 24 years overnight. My stepdad is one of the people that never stopped talking to me ever. Like, he gives me, like, now I look up to him and give him, you know, I freely take advice, and like, I want to be just like him. You know what I mean? But for a while, like, I think that I didn't know how to deal with being, like, in my crazy mind, I thought I was being pushed to the side. My mom got married when I was 10, and then you got to figure she had Kyla, Caden, and Christian. I love them to death. But at that critical age, my stepdad worked full time. He does very well what he does. He's very busy. He's traveling. My mother works the night shift. My grandparents, their grandparents, they're awesome. They provide everything for me, like financially and stuff like that, but they're old school. It's not like I can just go vent to them. So I remember being a kid, I'd be like, yo, mom, like, what days do you work this week? She'd work 3 12s, right? And then one weekend every month.
Once a month.
She would say, I'm working Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday. I'd be like, oh, okay, cool. I'm asking her solely for the sole reason of, like, I know if she's working Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday, you can do whatever you want. Off. I'm out. I pack a JanSport with the school uniform. I could stay out. I can go get on. I could do whatever. I just have to show up to class the next day. And like, I was doing that, you know what I mean? And they never really asked questions because I did well. And you know, one thing led to the next, and I just, you know, for whatever reason, like, I had like crippling anxiety, in like my early teens, late teens, whatever the case may be. And it's crazy for me too. Like, I fully believe that, like, you know, alcoholic through and through, because I feel like no matter what drug, done a lot of experimenting, no matter what substance, like, I got negative consequences from drinking, from pills, from heroin, crack. Like, no matter what it was, it always brought me back to the same end result. It's crazy.
So I remember, not to like fast forward way too much, right? But you went to West Virginia.
Yeah.
You went there? Or you just partied there?
Just party there a couple times. Yeah.
But you were enrolled?
No.
You weren't enrolled there?
No.
Okay. So I do remember you landed yourself in the hospital, right? When you were down there partying.
My mom was pregnant. She had a baby the day I was coming. It was a whole thing.
Oh, dude.
So when I was down there, I have a scar. It's tattooed over. I ended up splitting my arm open. My bone came out, and my blood alcohol level was like 0.30. I was obviously doing other stuff. And my ride, like, they all were like a little bit older. They had like work the next day. It was like Saturday at like 4 a.m. So technically Sunday, 4 a.m. And they had to leave or whatever the case may be. They brought all my clothes in, which is great. But
they left you in West Virginia in the hospital. In
a bloody, you know, whatever they get, the little jumpsuit thingy. So what happened is I got the surgery. My mom's literally in labor at the hospital. I was probably like 20. Flat 20. They give me since it's the West Virginia University Hospital, they gave me like a matching tracksuit. I looked like an idiot. I had the bright gold, like, crew neck, you know what I mean? With the bright gold pants to match. WVU in blue, WVU down here. I had sandals because all my clothes were taken. All I had was a phone and my wallet with no money.
Which obviously. You were posting on Instagram.
Yeah, yeah. And what happened was I got discharged. And basically, they talked to my friends or whatever, and they got me a bus ticket, but it was the most ass backwards bus ticket. I had to go to Baltimore with a layover, and then I got a Greyhound from Baltimore to 11th and Filbert in Philly. They discharged me with perk 5s. And I was like, I was 20 flat, and I just remember, I was like, damn, I remember these. These are awesome. But like, I was like, kind of like in early stages of like, you know, being kind of like addicted to alcohol almost, you know, drinking every single day.
Yeah.
I remember sitting at the bus stop in Baltimore in the straight hood, trading perk 10. I wasn't 21. So I'm trading perk 10s to the dudes to go buy me 40s.
Yeah.
Sitting there on the bench, and my arms in a sling.
Yeah.
In a sling, in a matching tracksuit, just like chilling, drinking 40s, doing the, you know, other stuff. And then I got home late, like the next night, and caught the 27 home. And I just remember like my mom had just got released from the hospital from having, I want to say it was Caden, my little brother. But yeah, that just goes to show like the wreckage that I bring. And that was only the start. And that's not even compared
and
to
I
what
remember,
happens.
and like obviously you got some news in there too, right? About like your liver, or like was that
That
when
was
you got,
after. That was
that after?
that was
Okay.
like a few months after.
Yeah.
I started bleeding down low, and I went to the hospital. I had stomach ulcers, which is basically, I guess, like alcohol and other stuff. Like it erodes the stomach lining. My hemoglobin, which is like the protein in your blood, was super low. It was like 8. It's supposed to be like 13. So they kept me and all that, and like it was like a whole thing. But that's when it really, like my other usage, like the pills and stuff, took off, because I was like, all right, I won't drink, but I'm not going to stop doing.
So not even to like segue into that just yet, right? But I remember when you were 20, right? You reached out to me and you were like, yo, you know, like, I don't know exactly how it transpired, but I do know that like you reached out at that age, and we like came to the conclusion that like you shouldn't be 20 years old and like all this stuff going on because of drinking.
Right.
So I remember like, you know, we sat down for a while right outside of Starbucks. And I knew that you weren't like taking any of this in, you know what I mean? But, you know, realistically, like I was told, like, you know, who am I to like say that someone's not getting the message, you know? So I continued to like read out of this book to you, right? We probably looked like nut jobs sitting in the neighborhood that we grew up in, and people were like, what's going on here? And then we kind of went our separate ways for a good couple of years, right?
Right.
And then it got bad for you.
It got like really bad, like dark and bad. Was 21 to 25. Right when I got sober at 25. Like really bad. Like, and it was fast. It was fast. At right after we met, I ended up getting a job at like Penn Beer in the neighborhood.
Yeah, I remember that.
Union. And when I saw the checks I was getting, I wasn't used to really working. I was doing like restaurants and stuff like that. It was bad. Like it was bad. It was every day of the blues, like the 30s, every single day. Can't get up without them, or else I'm going to have, you know, the flu. You know how that goes. And it just spiraled out of control there. I'd say the first time that I ever went down the way, like Kensington, was, I still remember the day. I still remember what I was wearing. I got done work and no one's answering. I probably had like $30 on the mark, and I'd always hear about Kensington and this and that. And my mom had work that night, and I just literally remember I was wearing a Budweiser Carhartt vest because of my uniform. Yeah. And I drove the minivan that was my stepfather's, that he would let me drive to work only, right? Obviously. I took it down there. I parked up at a corner I'm not going to say, right? And I grabbed somebody off the street, and I was like, yo, can you show me how to, you know, whatever. Yeah. And I remember I was like so sick at this point because it's a long day. It was like 7:30 at night, you know? So I get back to the house as normal. Mom's at work. Stepdad is, you know, winding down from his day because he's super productive and whatever the case may be. I went in my bedroom and, you know, I locked the door, and I just remember I can't remember another time, maybe a couple other times, but I was so scared, man. I just didn't want to be sick. I just did not want to have the flu. And I remember just pouring out a little bit, did a little bit, and I just went from there. And I remember, like, I just remember like that feeling of like when I first did it, and like, it's insane. And I fell asleep for like 2 hours and woke up, and I was just like, I'm never getting pills again. It's just not cost effective.
It's like another chapter. You know what I mean?
And it just kept digging deeper and deeper. And it was like, it was insane, dude. And I thought I had it together somewhat because I'm like, oh, I have a job, but that's about all I had. And it didn't last long either.
Yeah. So, all right. So you got sober at 25. When was the first time you went to like rehab?
I want to say 21.
Okay.
21. I think the first one I ever did was in Jersey, but I went to Jersey, Florida, Maryland, PA.
Yeah.
Probably around like 7 or so, like inpatients.
Mm-hmm.
Every time it got worse and worse and worse.
Yeah.
Every single time. Every single time. I mean, the first time I got out, no lie to you, like literally the first time I got out, I didn't know it, but come to find out, it was post-acute withdrawal because I was probably 8 days off of the stuff. And we went to Fat Tuesdays to celebrate. I'm dead serious. I was like, Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, with the Fat Tuesdays and Patty Wax, and I was drinking, celebrating. I was like, I just beat, opiates, bro. Like, I'm good. And it was like, I had a great night. I had a great time. But at like 3 a.m., I made that text and I picked up. I couldn't shake it.
Yeah.
Like, I couldn't shake it. And that was my MO. I would go back to treatment every 3-4 months, whatever, until I lost a union job and I had to go back on mom's insurance, which wasn't as good. You know what I mean? I'm grateful for it. I got sober from that insurance, but it was, it just kept getting worse and worse, and I spiraled out. And there was a period, worst year of my life, probably 23, 24, worst, darkest period of my life, man. That's when like the internal struggles with my family, I wasn't working. It was like, it's literally perpetual misery is like the only way to like describe it, honestly.
Yeah.
It was bad.
It's like, it's worse than Groundhog's Day, but it's the only way to say it, right? It's every single day you wake up and you're just, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? But you know what? We figure it out every single time, but it's never good how we figure it out.
No.
Yeah, it's such a horrible way to live, dude. I mean, I did it for so long. I was doing it in high school. That is like, oh, dude, thinking back and like thinking like what I probably really came off as in high school. I mean, people probably laughed at it because they probably thought that it was like just like immaturity. Like it wasn't. Like I was in really down bad. But yeah, so 25, you got sober. Walk us through that. Like, how did you? So you went to treatment, whatever with whatever time, right? And it's like, why did it stick this time? Like, why?
Dude, the events leading up to that, like 23 and 24 started to like shape me as a person. Like 23, I started to lose the support of the family as far as like any financial, any money, any trust, anything like that. I mean, like 23, I basically got like cut off financially, with that being said. But like my mom kind of like gave me an ultimatum, and then I started living with my grandmom. And like everyone in the family knew, like it was bad. Like I would show up to my grandmom's work in Chestnut Hill. I'd be riding my little sister's pink bike, and like there was this person I went to grade school with that was like, I guess like a nurse or something there, and she would just be like, "Your grandmom told me to give you this," like, and it was just like degrading, bro. And like I just remember from there, I was like slowly but surely like killing myself in my grandma's basement. And I couldn't hold a job. I'm starting to get arrested at this point. Roundhouse turns into CFCF. Like I said, the pills turn to dope. I'm starting to overdose. I'm getting hit with Narcan. Like I'm starting to crash cars. I'm starting to just lie, manipulate, cheat, straight begging. Like my MO was just grandmom. Like I was like a grandma's boy. You know what I mean? Didn't matter if it was 1 a.m. or 1 p.m. Like I was all take, no give. It was bad, bro. Like, it's hard to even like put in words, bro. And it's insane that when you fast forward a little bit, like the last straw, kind of, if you will, was starting to get me closer and closer. Was like, I had like 6 months sober, but I wasn't doing any work, so I was more abstinent. And I went to the bar again because that's like my MO. Like I used to love drinking. And it was probably like midnight after a few drinks. And like the best way to describe it for me is like a normal person, when they have like 6 beers, whatever, they might want to be like, yo, I want to go talk to that girl. But for me, it's like, damn, like I want to go, down the way. And I start romanticizing it. And that's what I did. I was in Manny Yunk and I had 6 beers and I lied to everyone and said I was going home. I ended up going down there, probably more than 6 beers, but I ended up going down there and I won't say where, but I ran over a fire hydrant. I crashed. I came to. My car tires were like sideways, so I just spun it around the block. I left it there and walked the rest of the way down there, and then had my grandpa pick me up. I walked all the way out to the boulevard, like 9th and the Boulevard, Hunting Park.
So he wouldn't think you were there. And
I asked for a ride. And I can't even remember what I said and happened to my car, but I said something and we ended up having it towed. And the guy was like, dude, like he ran over something. And I was like, I didn't, dude. Like someone hit me and ran. But then from there, man, like fast forward a little bit, I was 25. I had nothing going for me. Like I just it was one of those days. Like, I didn't plan it or anything like that. I made a call to you. Like, I was literally sitting there. What happened is like my grandpa took me the day before to the mall to get like boots for the winter or something like that. I don't even remember, but the last time I got on or used, whatever you want to call it, I was in my grandparents' basement, and I was like, all right, like I don't have any money coming in for a couple of days. At the time, I was working at Butcher and Singer downtown, and I basically got high. I came home and I passed out, and I woke up and it was like 6 at night and it was freezing. It was the winter. It was like November, and I was like, damn, like I'll just figure out a way to, get more money or hustle tomorrow. I was like, or maybe I'll quit. I don't know. See how I feel. So, around 2 a.m., like I am kicking. Because at this point, my, addiction progressed to fentanyl. 6 hour window, bro. And you're absolutely in the worst withdrawal that you've ever felt in your life. I was so sick, I couldn't even move to go do a hustle. So I make it the next day. I probably made it till 3 p.m. I remember calling you because I was so sick, bro. Like so sick. And I was like, yo, just get me somewhere, dude. And it's crazy because like it took a little bit to get everything situated and all that, but you came right over and like it was the best thing for me. When you came over, dude, I was down bad, bro. I was down bad.
I mean, your grandmother, we can't just breeze over this, dude. Like your grandmother's got a first class ticket to the Pearl Gates, right?
She's
amazing. She to this day, like really didn't know how like bad everything was, right? And but like even if like I wasn't there or whatever the case may be, like that unconditional love piece for her with her is just unmatched.
Right.
I mean, what a saint.
She did so much for me, and she continues. That's why I make time to go like see her, and she's just awesome, bro.
She's the best.
She never stopped loving me. No one stopped loving me, but like she allowed me to stay in her house.
There was probably some people that like had to put up some boundaries, right? Where they were like, "Oh, we'll love you from a distance. Like you can't continue to do this."
Right.
And it was probably the best thing for you.
Oh, it was. That's the only reason I got sober is because I thought maybe I could do like a little 30-day treatment and then come back home. But the best news is when like I got a phone call at the place that I was at with the same counselor that I had multiple times. She was awesome. And she was like, yeah, you're going to have to try something different because you're not allowed back home. And I was like, no, my grandmom's like, you're not allowed back there.
Yeah.
And it was like the best thing because it put me on a fast track to just being like, damn, dude, whatever. But I'll be honest, I wasn't even convinced at that point. I was like, maybe if I get a year sober, I can like get my own spot and maybe I'll get my own little job and I can then drink if I want to. But it didn't work out that way. Like I got plugged in with like a group of guys that like were all on the same mission. It was insane. Like I went to this place in Bucks County, recovery house, and like it like changed my life. Like everything in that house, like the small things of like making a bed and cleaning your dishes and doing the 90 and 90.
Getting like pillowcases and stuff, you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah.
I mean, how long were you sober at that point?
It's probably like almost a year sober.
Yeah. I mean, because that was like something that we always, I don't know if you did it to like the recovery house guys, right? But if like you had somebody that you really fucked with, right? You would always just like go over, flip their bed, whatever.
Yeah.
So at the time, you were the only one that was in the sober house that like I really knew, and you just weren't there at the time. So I went into your room and the plan was just to flip your bed. And then I saw the fucking pillowcase, the shirt as the pillowcase. And I was like,
I was shot out, dude.
I was like, brother, you don't have to live like that no more.
That, and then I lived, what's crazy? I don't know if I didn't accept it or what, but like looking back on it, it's crazy. I lived in the LL Bean like duffel bag that my grandpa gave me the entire time until the last 3 months.
Yeah.
I just was living out of a duffel bag. People were like, what are you doing? I was like, I don't know if it's because I didn't accept it mentally or whatever the case may be. But I remember it was like right when I started to accept things how they were, things started moving because, bro, like it was bad when I got out there, dude. Like it was bad. Like I wasn't really talking to anyone in my family besides my mother. I remember they sent me a card and stuff like that, and they all signed it, which was great. But like they didn't have any faith, and like I don't even know if I did.
Why would they at that point?
Yeah, I mean, I went out there. All I had in Levittown, I had this Boost mobile phone that didn't have the bill paid for it. I had a probation officer. I had other like a warrant that I had to clear up in a different county. I had like not been to the dentist or doctors in multiples of years. I had like no friends or support. no job, like nothing. But looking back on it, it was the best thing for me because I was able to go like literally just focus on like not fucking picking up a drink or a drug and like just like trying to like get around the right dudes for that whole time being. I didn't have kids, didn't have a girlfriend, didn't have any type of bills whatsoever. Like literally not one. I didn't even have a credit card at that point. I had no idea anything about these things.
Yeah.
Nothing.
It's crazy how it works out, right? And I know that you probably still talk to like some of the people that you grew up with, right? But the majority of the people in your everyday life are all people that crazy. You met either from that house or from sobriety or recovery, whatever we're calling it. And it's, you know, I remember when I got up to the recovery house, I was like, what, like, this is it. Like, I'm a loser.
Yeah.
You know, like that was my thought. I was like, I'm a loser. I'm going to a recovery house, 23 years old. I got no friends. I'm not going to ever have friends. This is it. Like my life's over. You fast forward a few years later and it's like my entire wedding is all people from Bucks County.
Right.
And it's like, how did this happen?
It's insane, bro.
And now literally there's not enough time in the day.
No, 100%. You know, we were just on the road in Long Island. Like it's insane, dude. Like life's crazy, bro. It's super full, but it's awesome. But like for me, I remember like I do well in social settings, but like I remember walking in that house and I was like kind of nervous and stuff. And it wasn't my first rodeo. I did one recovery house prior. And like I said, super grateful for everything because like I feel like that stint prior to the lodge where we both went, it like exposed me to like what this life is hitting for. And at that point, that was at 24. I kind of knew like, damn, like this is probably true, but I'm going to ride this wave of like trying to like do my own plan until it doesn't work out anymore.
Yeah.
And when I walked into the lodge, this guy was sleeping facing the other way. And when he turned around, kind of familiar, whatever the case may be. I didn't really know him, but he was a guy from Roman. And he was a few years older. He was probably like 33 and I was probably 25. So he was a little bit older, but we had like mutuals and stuff like that. So we kind of clicked up from the first, you know, second that I got there.
Yeah.
And I just remember Dave Diodato picked me up. I remember the first answer was like, yo, do you smoke, you know, menthol or non-menthol? And like, he got me a pack of ports and it was like,
which is huge early on.
Huge out there. Yeah, exactly, dude. I remember like in the car ride, he was like, yo, to live here, you're going to have to get a home group, a sponsor and a commitment. And you're gonna have to do a 90-90. And he was like, you don't have a car, right? And I was like, no. And he's like, all right, cool. Well, we got some guys with cars at the house and, you know, you're going to get a home group tonight because we're going to this meeting. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. And he's like, yeah, and at that home group, you're going to raise your hand and you're going to get a commitment. He's like, so that's 2 out of 3. And he's like, oh, also, we have a bunch of alumni from the program that are more than willing to sponsor you. So you could do all 3 tonight. And he's like, if not, you might as well just let me know now and I'll drop you off on Bristol Pike or wherever at the bus station. He's like, I was like, damn, right, for real? He's like, yeah, for real. He's like, that was the first time I realized, I was like, yo, a clean urine literally won't even save me. Yep. Like it wasn't about that at where we went. Like you had to like actually like progress as like a man. And I just remember I got there in the winter, bro, and it was ice cold and I didn't have a car and I was walking an hour to and from this pallet factory on Bristol Pike. And like it was just like so, it was depressing at first, but the best thing was like I started connecting with people in the house and everyone had like some type of similar situation, no matter like what they were using on the outside or where they came from or what their religion or if they were black, if they were white, Asian, it didn't matter. It was insane. Mm-hmm. And I started to like thrive, bro. I stopped feeling sorry for myself. That was the biggest thing. I felt sorry for myself for a long time, especially when I realized like, damn, I'm past the point of return. And I started accepting like, damn, like if I just like shut up and like listen, it's not going to guarantee me shit, but there might be a chance at a better life, like possibly a chance.
I mean, I'd be willing to bet it couldn't have got any worse. You know,
dead.
I mean, no, I'm saying if like, God forbid, nothing got better, right? But you stayed sober,
right?
Like, it couldn't get any worse.
It could not get any worse.
At the time when I had that thought, I was living at the lodge. I was on the top bunk for the second time, right? So I went to the lodge the first time, relapsed afterwards, right? Got back, on a top bunk. Like, I'm like, dude, like, why wouldn't I fully give myself to this? You
Right.
know,
100%.
if not worst case scenario, best case scenario, I get back to the top bunk again. If worst case scenario, I'm dead.
Right. I think the biggest thing for me was realizing that the problem wasn't just like the physical aspect. Cause I always used to say, like, I'm telling you, I'd be swearing up and down. I'm telling you right now, bro, if I didn't get the flu every 6 hours, why would I do this?
Right.
But the biggest factor, which really changed my perspective, and it was super close to after this, one of the worst days ever, was I was living at the Red Roof Inn. I was like 25 or some change.
What, the Red Roof in Ben Salem?
Yeah, Red Roof in Ben Salem.
Which is better than Croydon. So you were living a little bit.
Yeah, I was living, dude. It was like PUA money or whatever the case may be. And what happened is I had a car at this point that my grandpa gifted me. I had a warrant for missing court in Philly, right? Had my original, charges for like buying down the way or whatever.
Yep.
They run plates in that Red Roof Inn. They run my plate. It's like 6 a.m. They come in the house. Literally, I was still like up, man. It was Officer Flanagan on there. Forget it. And dude, like I was like done at that point, but because when they came in, they were like, you have a warrant, this and that. And I was like, damn, do I? And then I was like, yeah, I ain't even gonna hold you. Like there's stuff in that bag over there, the LL Bean bag that I talked about earlier that my grandpa gifted me. And they took me in there like, dude, like, what are you doing? Like, are you selling it? I'm like, no, like this is personal use because it seemed normal to me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I ended up, going to Ben Salem, and I just remember I'm starting to withdraw. They got me like a kid's meal from McDonald's. I was so hungry too. And the dude, like the jail guard or whatever you want to call it, was like, yo, your ride's here. I didn't even use a phone call. And they're like, no, it's your transport. Philly's here to get you. You have your open case.
Yeah.
And I was like, damn. So I was like talking to the transport guy. I was like, yo, dude, like my paperwork, like I remember he was like a younger, cool dude. You could tell I wasn't a street guy. Catholic school, like good family. And I was just talking to him like a person. And he's like, you'll be all right, man, but you should really get your shit together. Like, what are you doing? I just remember being on that bus ride, and one of the realest moments of my life, you'd always hear about State Road and this and that. I remember like I knew where Roundhouse was downtown. I was like, yo, aren't we going to Roundhouse? This is where we at. And he's like, buddy, you're going to, Karen from Hall Correctional Facility. I was like, damn, dude. It's like, this is not good at all. I remember getting there, and I remember going to B block, and I remember I almost said roommate. I remember the cellmate, like it was the worst experience of my life. And no one told my family where I was. They ended up finding out. And I get out or whatever. Mind you, one of the most crazy moments was when I was in the court. Like they transport you in the basement in your county orange, dude. And I was there, and I just, my buddy who worked for the criminal justice center, you probably know him. He texted me. I saw it like later when I got out. He was like, bro, call me when you're out, dude, because he saw me in my county orange fit, whatever. But fast forward, I was there for a little bit. I get out. They give you your bus, like a bus. Not a token, maybe like a transfer or something like that. I was going to go to Good Friends up in the county, and I was going to do the halfway.
What's that, like Newtown? No,
it's
Morrisville.
Morrisville.
Yeah,
it's like the equivalent of like a 3/4. It's like self-help in Bucks County. And I went left, but mind you, I was done my detox, bro. So I went right to Frankfurt Terminal, and I remember using it, and I was like, damn, dude, like, why did I do this? Like, I'm not even withdrawing it. I had beaten it. And I remember being in the block. I was like, tell me, like, I'm never coming back. I'm about to get out of here and do good. I got good friends lined up. And then I just remember I was like, damn, dude, I'm stuck in this cycle all over again. But it put me on a fast track, because at that point, it was like the cat was out of the hat, whatever bag, whatever the phrase is, dude. Like, I had no more schemes left. I probably got sober 4 months after that.
Yeah.
But like I said, brought me to Levittown, and it was nuts, because 30 days turned into 60 days. I started feeling a little bit better. More importantly, about like how I viewed stuff. Like, I used to think it was everyone else's fault, or like someone owed me something, or if I didn't get the cards that I was dealt, as if they were bad.
Yeah.
Like, my life is probably my life was probably better than 99.8% of the people in the planet. You know what I mean? I started doing work on myself. I went through the steps, made amends, like, but it's crazy. I don't know really when it happened, but like that same obsession that would like, you know, make me sell everything that I've ever had, steal from people, like manipulate, lie, cheat. It just wasn't there. Like it just went away. I don't know exactly when it went away, but it started to go away and then it went away. And I just remember like when I was like 6 months sober, dude, and I was working that get well job, I call it, for $9 an hour at the pallet factory, with no car and nothing. I was so happy.
Yeah.
I'm so happy now, but like I was so free. Bro, I would fall asleep.
I remember having moments where you're like, whatever, dude. Like I'm not hurting today. I'm not like, I'm not fighting myself. Like this is all going to work out one way or another.
Yeah. And like, it was like insane because like I said, like up until that point, my life was chaos. And I remember like, I just remember being like, damn, we would share in the little groups. I'd be like, I can't believe that like, I don't have to go out and like boost to get my, you know, to get well. I was like, this is insane. Life slowly started getting better and better, bro. Like I got a better job. I got plugged in with more guys. Like I started going to meetings more and like I got a group of friends and what it's evolved into today is like insane. Like I would have never imagined it. I feel like I still have like a long way to go, but like I always remind myself like, you know, almost in the fall, God willing, it'll be 4 years. It's like I've came this far, you know what I mean? I still have like miles and leaps to go, but like it's just insane. I would have never imagined it from where I was mentally sitting in the last detox.
Yeah.
Like it's insane, dude.
I just remember when wherever you had went to treatment the last time and I had heard that you were going to the lodge. I was so happy, dude.
Yeah.
But then I was really like, he ain't gonna fucking make it.
Yeah, it was
because honestly, I was
attitude.
like, and I was like, he's not gonna like vibe with like, there's like rules, right? And it turns out like that's okay. That there's rules to life that I just kind of need to follow. But I was like, he's not gonna be able to put his pride and ego to the side. I'm so happy you did. And really, it's a testament to like who you got linked up with your sponsor and stuff like that because, you know, he was a no bullshit type of dude. Right, like you're gonna do this or you're not, and I'm not gonna like chase you down.
Right.
So what about currently? Obviously you have a very full life.
Yeah.
Like you said, we just went on a very long road trip, much longer than it ever had to be. But we won't talk about your driving on this episode.
The phone, bro. You know what I mean?
It wasn't the phone. It wasn't the phone. It was, you know, you were just lollygagging. You wanted to just, you know, get there when we got there. Unbelievable.
Not the fact of New York traffic sucks. We had to drive through the city, bro.
Yeah, I mean, there's a way to go about it, you know, like just like get out of the slow lane, make it to the lane that's moving, you know. But you just wanted to, you know, you were just like, oh, look at all this,
right?
All right, so you know, coming up on 4 years, walk me through that. Like, what's it look like now?
Now, I mean, dude, life is so different now. It's like I'm so busy, but it's just like in other ways, like full stuff. Like now I have a girlfriend, Allison, like she's awesome. We have a dog, Bo, love him. I stay busy with work. You already know that, right? Work is insane. But also like, dude, like I got family, I got friends, I got people like in the fellowship that like I help. I go to a lot of meetings. I do jujitsu. I try to lift weights. I'm not like you, but I'm trying to get something like that. You know what I mean? Stay full, dude. I golf, which I suck at. I definitely found some hobbies. I found a good group of guys and, it's good. But the biggest thing for me is when nothing's going on, like I'm okay with that. I used to always have to do something, but now it's kind of like.
I remember that when you first got sober and you were always like, so like, what are you doing tonight? I'm like, I'm not doing anything, dude. I'm home. I have 2 kids. I'm home. You're like, damn, you don't ever get like bored? I'm like, no, man. I like envy my quiet time a lot because like a lot of times like, the kids are not quiet. Right. So a lot of times like it's like, yeah, I'm home, I'm on the couch, but like they're like, I'm screaming at the kids and I'm not proud of that. Right. But like I scream at the kids, I'm like, yo, cut it out.
Right.
Yeah, our downtime, our quiet time is huge, especially for like what we do. Like work's crazy, right? The phone's always going nuts. So So what's next, right? Like, what's the next like few years look like, right? Because, you know, I mean, obviously we live one day at a time, but like, where do you want to be? Where do you want to be spiritually, mentally, physically, professionally, right? I do know what you do in like your day to day, so I know how you've turned a lot of your pain into your purpose. But like, what do you want it to look like?
I mean, first and foremost, like spiritually, like I'm going to continue to like, you know, go to my 12-step fellowship meetings, you know, try to keep staying open and helping other guys and, you know, just keep leveling up, dude. Honestly, like it's insane. Like I just got pre-approved to like buy my first property. I'm
It's huge.
kind of like digging into that.
It's a far way away from the Boost mobile phone.
Yeah, it's insane, dude. Like I'm kind of doing that on the side. Super into jiu-jitsu. Like, you know, everyone makes fun of me for it, but I love it.
It's wrestling with guys, but yeah, I hear you.
So I got that going. I mean, I live with my girlfriend, Allison. She's my rock. She's literally awesome. Like, and she took a chance on me. I mean, bro, we started dating. I was probably like 18 months sober and I had nothing. I had like this, you know, Ford Escape beater. I don't even think I think I'm still working like doing like concrete for like $20 an hour. Like,
yeah,
not really doing much. Didn't really have like the brightest future in mind. All I knew is like, all right, I'm not gonna, you know, use or pick up today. But it's kind of crazy where things go. Like I reconnected like with my dad's side of the family. Background on that is like my dad's mom came over here from Thailand. That's where she lives. I have a bunch of relatives over there. His sister lives in Tennessee. Kind of was like estranged for a number of years. There's the disconnect, you know, rightfully so, which I get between like the dad's side, the mom's side. But it's cool, man. Like God willing, I'll be 4 years sober and I'll be in Thailand. I'm going for like 3 weeks. Me, Allison, a couple of my cousins from the States, and we're flying out to see my grandma in her hometown village in Udon Thani. It's like northeast Thailand near the border of Laos.
that's awesome.
So I'm really looking forward to that. It's going to be insane.
Have you ever
like,
been there before?
No.
So this is your first? Yes, this is huge. This is awesome. Yeah.
It's like insane. Like I can't even put it in the words and I'm like, it's not even here yet. It's not till November. I try to forget about it. So like, it'll just come up randomly, but like, that's just, it's like a dream of mine. Like it's insane, especially coming from where we come from. I mean, like growing up in Philly was great, but like that's all you know. That's
Philly,
all
Wildwood,
you know.
Ocean City,
Closed-minded,
closed-minded.
you know what I mean? So I'm really looking forward to that. Honestly.
Absolutely, man. So before we shut it down, is there anything else you want to say? You want to give us a quick 16?
A quick 16.
Or anything like that? I know you wrote, do you want to read the poem? I know you said,
I don't have a poem, brother.
Oh, so I'm just spitballing here, but yeah. So if you like what we're saying, if you're watching the episodes that are coming out weekly, we greatly appreciate it. Follow us on Instagram, Pain W Purpose, Apple, Spotify, Pain with a Purpose podcast, and then we're on YouTube as well, right? Pain with a Purpose podcast. Love the support. Like, comment, subscribe, whatever that saying is. I hate saying it. It feels so inauthentic. But yeah, I mean, the support definitely keeps it going. So, anything else you want to say?
Nah, man, I appreciate you for, you know, everything. Honestly, one of the first people I used with and the last person to put me in treatment. And, you know, I've stayed sober since then. I'm grateful, you know, to have you in my life now. Honestly,
I love that
in
man.
This capacity.
Yeah, absolutely, honestly. Dude. And you pay it forward. I mean, we're not going to like talk about it, right? But like what we were talking about before we walked in here.
Yeah.
And that's what it's all about.
Absolutely.
So, all right, we will see you next week. Thanks everybody for tuning in.